Welcome everyone to our club executive webinar series. Tonight's featured topic is Club Bulletin Editor, and we're very excited to introduce life member Ron Couch from the Kitchener-Waterloo Kinsman, who has won the District Bulletin Award for a number of years, and he's agreed to pry open the doors and share some secrets. So turn it over to you, Ron.
Thank you, Karen. Yes, I have been doing our club bulletin for a number of years, and I had been on a bit of a hiatus, but it was probably many more years before that I started doing the bulletin. And in those days, bulletin competition was a highly sought after activity at zone conferences. You know, there would be scraps of bulletins read out as the award was being drummed up, and people would get all excited trying to guess who was winning or going to win. And then like the whole room would erupt when somebody won. And that kind of enthusiasm has waned over the years. With the advent of computers and electronics and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy to fire off a quick email and people call it good. But to me, a bulletin is a tangible thing. It's a historical record for your club. You can archive if you print them, or you could archive them if you do it electronically. But at any rate, people can look back years and find out what your club was doing and just the different things that it was involved in. So we will get in. Oh, and what else was I going to say there? Oh, it's gone. All right. Anyways, I got a bit of a slide presentation here that our wonderful daughter put together for me, because Lord knows I couldn't do it on my own. See, anybody can do this. Okay. So that's what everybody's seeing on the side there now.
Yes.
Okay, so we did the introductions, bulletin outlines, and judging criteria, that kind of thing we'll be going through as we go through the presentation. If you have questions, you might as well fire them up as you think of them, because it's probably relevant to a page we're looking at, and it'll just save me trying to find the freaking thing afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to page through a few sample pages from a bulletin I pulled out from a couple of years ago, and just to give you an idea of how I do it. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way, but I've just kind of gotten into a pattern. The guys in our club know what to expect from page to page, and I hear about it if it's not there. So this is just the way I do it. Why would you do a bulletin? We kind of talked about that. There may be some clubs that maybe don't think that they have a budget for doing this kind of thing, because printing costs are getting a little bit up there, as I've found out over the years. But perhaps you could get your boss to sponsor it, or you could find a business that would be willing to maybe print it for you in return for, of course, their ad space in your bulletin somewhere. I don't think there's any kind of problem with that. Everybody's looking for some way to keep the cost down and still have a good kin experience. So after you've looked up the rules and regulations, judging criteria, whatever you want to call it, for the Bulletin Award, and you would find that in the district website. Go to the awards section and page down to 20 and 21 until, at least that's where I found it, the different award criteria. And I will flash that at the end of the slide presentation, just to give you an idea of what that looks like when you go looking for it. So when you get to do your bulletin and come up with a name with it for it. I've used Kin Post for a number of years, and I always put a picture on the front page that has a post in it, and then I do a cut and paste, changing that picture according to season or holiday or whatever. So that's just kind of a little pun thing I've got going there for my bulletin. The award criteria, there are some mandatory requirements, and you can take care of some of those right on the front page, such as the club name, zone, and district. I've got all that up there at the top. Names of the club president and bulletin editor, got that down the side. I've redacted some contact information here just for the purposes of the videos. We're just looking at a picture here. Date and time of meeting, issue number. For this particular year, this is our 79th year, and this was the third issue that, or volume, whatever, that I had put out for that kin year. And the president's report, I usually put on the back side of this page. So, like I said, you come up with a name, and then you can format it however you like, so that you have some of that mandatory information. Well, it just makes it a fast read, because all that is really quick. You've got dates and times and contacts, and you know, guys could even tear that front page off and you know, put it on the fridge or whatever if they wanted to keep track of things in a hurry. So moving on the inside page there, like I said, president's message. It is a required thing. If you're going for an award, sure, it's a required thing. Even if you're not, it's nice to have your president speak to the group, as you will. And you know, I usually scrounge a picture, because as a bulletin editor, you should have your phone or your camera on the ready, so you can take candid shots and throw them in the bulletin whenever, and you know, surprise the guys that, hey, he actually was watching. And so I try and get a picture of the president. Sometimes they don't volunteer one, and I create one, and then lo and behold, I am suddenly given a good picture I can use for the next bulletin. So somehow I get a picture in there of some sort. Guys know that right after that, they're going to be looking at the agenda so that they know what's going on for the night. They're going to have the bulletin sitting in right in front of them. As a usual manner, of course, I would have a printed copy for each guy that I expect to be there for the meeting. And if they're a no-show, then I scan the bulletin and send it to them as a file, and they can read it and look at it whenever they get a chance. So they have an agenda looking right at them. They can make notes as the meeting's going on. Our guys don't seem to be able to function through a meeting without looking at an agenda, and I hear about it when that's missing too, or it's out of order or something. But anyways, it's there. Usually carries over to a second page, and then I add something just to fill in the bottom part of the page. It might be a joke or a cartoon or something, but I like the gavel thing because that means the meeting's over. And then they expect to see the minutes from the last meeting. So they would peruse those as the meeting's going on and carry on with that. Again, filler at the bottom of the page. Like, I get the secretary to send me the minutes in some kind of format that I can edit if I have to and add stuff. On a monthly basis, the treasurer will put out a full report. So I put that in. Again, I've redacted our numbers because that's not really necessary for the presentation. But it's in there because guys want to know what's going on. And okay, and also another thing you can get into, and it is expected, I believe, here. Yeah, association news. You get 10 points for zone news, district news, and national news. If there's something going on to club, I put that in there too. We sponsored this Scotch tasting, threw a lot of money at that. Had a couple of tables reserved for ourselves and had a great time. Got to thank you for it. So correspondence, thank yous, that kind of thing I print too, because the mail comes in, one guy looks at it, and unless it gets printed, nobody else knows that anything has been happening. District news, there happened to be some kind of contest going on right at that point in the year, and people running that were great enough to create a flyer, which makes it really handy for me because then it's just copy and put it in. It's a little bit more of an ordeal when you have to create your own flyer, but I have done that too. It just takes a little bit more time. National news, cystic fibrosis, things qualify for that, and sometimes there's other stuff going on that they are involved in that we need to show everybody too. Again, more correspondence, thank yous for stuff that we have done. And what else do we have here? Oh, I created this page a few years ago because you need editorials in your bulletin too. And so I just tagged it Ron's Ramblings, and I just pick random thoughts and kind of string them all together. So it, it's mostly amusing. Sometimes it's kind of pensive, but whatever. It's a neat page. I think there's a couple of guys that look forward to reading that and give me heck if they don't put that out in a bulletin too, because it's something that's a little different and they look forward to it. I also throw in word searches and crossword puzzles, either one or the other, or sometimes both, depending on my page count. And because some guys don't like one or the other, and so they've got something else to doodle on during a meeting or during break or dinner or whatever. In the days when we did dinner, hopefully we get back to that soon. What do we got next here? Okay, something else that's required for marking criteria is your club calendar. So all things going well, your president will have this coordinated and ready for you for your first bulletin in September. And then it's just a matter of printing it every issue and thereafter so that people keep on top of things. And again, that's another kind of tear out page, and or they can keep it in their notebook or whatever, but just so that they know what's coming up as we get along in the year. I also do a roster. I'm just going to hold it up quick here on the, where's my camera? There it is. You can't really see it all that well, but anyways, it's done on an Excel spreadsheet. And I thank the good Lord for the person who set that up in the first place too, because I couldn't do it. But I have learned how to do cut and paste and copy and paste to change names and phone numbers and club responsibilities and that kind of thing on it. So that is another page that the guys like to keep tabs on too. And right behind that, on the back page of my bulletin, I always do the "O Canada" Kinsman Song and Kinsman Grace. And if we're doing a joint meeting, I have another page I substitute in with Kin Song, Kin Grace. And then so it's kind of a cheat sheet for your guests or new members or whatever. The president can say, okay, if you flip the bulletin over to the back on the table in front of you, you'll be able to sing along with us and know what's going on. So that's, I don't know if that's, let me just look here. No, that's, it's not really a required thing, but so that is the criteria that you will find if you go to the district awards page and scroll down till you find this. And so that tells you different things that are expected. One thing that I didn't mention yet is the kin education. That's something that you can put in each issue as well. I have a page here that I did once on membership and recruitment. I was lucky enough to find that on one of the kin websites somewhere. That's a good source for information sometimes. Sometimes things on the website aren't really conducive to just being able to copy it and print it right away. You have to do some configuring sometimes. So I'm really thankful when people create a flyer that is just really easily transferable to something like a bulletin page. So you've got the different things that they're expected. You can add different things, like something else in here is kin profiles. You could create a bit of a questionnaire highlighting a few things of interest from that of new kin, or maybe somebody that's been around for a few years and but still nobody really knows too much about them. Kind of sad, but sometimes that happens. You can create a format asking them, you know, how they found out about kin, what they like about kin, you know, what they do for a living, different things, just to people get more of a profile of what that person is about. You can also do kin kid pages, coloring and puzzles and easy filling type of games kind of thing. And there's, where is it? Layout, quality of production down there, and presentation. And an important one right below that is quality of content, humor and good taste. You know, there's all kinds of jokes and cartoons and stuff on the internet, but you can't necessarily print them in a bulletin that is going to go home to some guy's family, or perhaps somebody's visiting and sees it on his coffee table, picks it up and starts reading it, or it's, you know, it could be laying around anywhere. So you have to make sure that you're doing things in good taste. Sometimes I have to bite my tongue because I could get, you know, put in some sarcastic or humorous stuff in there, but then I have to read it a couple of times and whatever, and then it's like, nah, that's not going to work, Ronnie. So that's out. So you just have to make sure you're monitoring what you're putting in there so that you could be happy that anybody could read it. So that they tabulate everything up, mandatory stuff, content, presentation, give you a mark out of 100. You are required to send in at least 5 issues of your bulletin for your beginning stages, which would be at your zone marking. And if you win, then you would move on from there to district. So that's kind of a quick outline of what things are looking like for my bulletin. And I will get out of that. And I'm wondering if there are any questions or ideas that maybe I could use myself for another bulletin, whatever.
I think along the same lines as what Melissa asked earlier, in this digital time, when everybody is doing their own thing and most people are communicating via messenger or email or whatnot, how do you implement a bulletin that will get people engaged when like, for example, my club would tell me there's no way we're doing that. The printing cost alone would be too much. And so that's not a thing.
Mhm.
So then, and like, I get it. I get that. And in fact, looking at yours, it was very interesting. I'd love to have my hands on one. But again, trying to convince people to do that.
Well, that's where I mentioned about possible advertising or sponsorship. If you could, if somebody in the club has a boss or a company that is willing to print it or would throw some money at you in exchange for having an ad in your bulletin somewhere, you could do it that way. Like I said, I print this out, but I'm also able to bring my master copy here to the head office of the agency where I work for, and I slam it into their humongous printer, copier, or whatever, or scan it, and then I'm able to email it to the guys as well, like especially the guys that don't show up to get a hard copy. So if you know, that's a very inexpensive way of doing it, because you're making that first copy, and then electronic, you can send it out. It's just that way you don't have one for people to look at, handle, whatever during the meeting. Maybe you could scale it back and maybe print one per table, like 2 or 3 guys could share one around just so that they can keep tabs on the agenda and what's going on. If you were going to do printing on a smaller scale, but there's always the scanning and emailing option.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I missed that question somewhere. I was just
Yeah.
zoned in on getting
Well,
things through.
And the club that I used to be a member of, we actually didn't print any bulletins. It was emailed out as a PDF. And if a member wanted a hard copy, they could print their own hard copy.
Okay, yeah.
So it was just, if we had a guest coming to the meeting, or if we had a new member coming to the meeting that wasn't on our club roster yet, we'd have print copies available for them, or make sure that one got forwarded to them. But printing was never something that we ever did. If you want a hard copy, do it yourself. And
Yeah.
everything went out by PDF.
Yeah, that gives people an advance warning of what's going on before a meeting too, if you're
Mhm.
able to get it cranked out in time.
Yep, which I always enjoyed, because you read through it quickly and go, oh, shoot, I was supposed to do that. And you've got 2
Yeah.
days left to do it.
Yeah,
So,
or too late.
Yeah.
Okay.
so what kind of a deadline do you have, Ron, for collecting information? Like, do you tell your secretary, okay, I need the minutes and the agenda how many days in advance, or the treasurer's report? How much advance time do you give yourself to assemble it and have it ready to go?
That varies from week to week, because other guys' schedules for some reason just don't seem to coordinate with mine a lot of times. So if we have an executive a week or 2 before the general, then I encourage the secretary to get me the minutes ASAP after that. And our treasurer is pretty good about creating that kind of stuff too. It's, yeah, sometimes I'm chasing for the president's report or a couple other things, and that does make it a little hectic, because sometimes I'm still putting it together the weekend before our Monday night meeting. So that's a bit of a strain, but if you can somehow trick the guys into getting the stuff to you sooner, because like we even instituted a fine, like, okay, you didn't get that to Ron in time for the bulletin, like pay up, $1 or $2 or whatever. I think we have to increase that, because it doesn't seem to be as big enough incentive sometimes, but still you gotta try something. So yeah, I realize, like with any publishing thing, that there is a time crunch sometimes, and you either live with it or don't do it at all. So,
I think, like in the case of our club, we meet every 2 weeks.
mhm.
And last year, our bulletin editor was sending out a notice, I need this stuff by Thursday, so that I can work on it and have it ready on the weekend for Monday night.
Yeah.
He was using the same old template that's been used for years. So I've redesigned it now because I'm going to be the new bulletin editor, and it's in Publisher. And the great thing about Publisher is it's not Word. Word is horrible because you put a little tiny picture in there and you've destroyed all your text. But Publisher is really forgiving that way, and you can close Publisher, save it, and then come back to it because somebody showed up Sunday and said, "Oh yeah, here, can you scan this and put it in for Monday night?" You can reopen Publisher. It's a work in progress until you have said save as bulletin for Monday night. So that helps a lot if people have the right software to work with.
That sounds amazing. Obviously, I don't know about that.
Publisher is just one of the Office suite, Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Publisher. And there's someone sitting about 4 feet away from me has helped me out a lot with Publisher. So
Yeah, Publisher, in my opinion, is the only way to do anything, posters, and newsletter kind of stuff, because Word does not like adding photographs and stuff into it. At least I know you can, but it's not, it doesn't like it very much. So Publisher is definitely a better tool for that. Plus it allows you to set up, like you could do a trifold, like you may be able to get the bulletin down to like a front and back of a trifold, with all of the information that you need, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Well, again, that would be something that would cut down on your costs, right? Because you're be fewer pages, right? Or no?
mm-hmm. I agree with Karen too, in terms of I email the bulletin out to everybody, and when I get to the meeting last year, I was as president, I had a printed out copy. Nobody else did. Out came the cell phones. They looked it up on their phones because it's a PDF and you can do that with anything.
Okay.
So there, I think the concern about the amount of money it costs to publish a document anymore is kind of gone by the wayside for the most part.
And you can, sorry.
No, I mean, my VCR still flashes 12 o'clock. So if I can embrace this stuff, anybody can.
Oh, that's refreshing to hear, because I'm kind of on your page with that. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, you can submit for the awards with an electronic version. It doesn't have to be a hard copy printed one. So that'll work. Did I miss any other question there? I just now see that there's a 2 there.
No, we're good. So one of the things I just wanted to mention, and I know about this because I used to be on the National Education and Training Committee, and I helped put this document together on ICANN under, I think it's leadership resources. Under successful club resources, there's a kin education manual. And that was designed so that you could take 1 page of information, and then there's a quiz. So you can copy a page of information from the kin education manual, paste it into your bulletin, tick off your kin education requirement. And then just to make it more fun, you can bring the quiz to the meeting and find out who actually read the bulletin.
Oh.
And then have a little prize or award for participation or something like that.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
So we've got, like, there's kin history, there's a little story about founder Hal, information about the association in general, the kin crests that we've had over our history, and all kinds of stuff like that. So
Okay, good to know.
So you don't have to reinvent the wheel for kin education. We've tried to
No.
put some stuff together for you that you can just copy and paste and it's in. It doesn't have to be rocket science.
Okay. Thank you.
Karen, for the awards, I know Ron mentioned that you needed to submit 5. How many are they expecting? A monthly bulletin, or could you do a bi-monthly or quarterly version?
I don't think it matters how often you print it out. It's just that by the time your zone happens, which sometimes is end of February, you will have to have created 5 issues of something that you can submit. So,
Oh, yeah, I guess that, yeah, so you're looking at monthly. All right.
Yeah,
So sorry.
the awards criteria does say entry shall be judged on 5 complete monthly issues of the club's bulletin.
So what does that exactly mean? That, I mean, like I said, we meet every 2 weeks,
so you would be doing two per month.
2 per month. Yeah. So
So you've got lots to choose from by the time
Yeah.
you get to February.
exactly. So then after zone and we go to district, are we required to submit new bulletins?
No, my understanding is that the 5 bulletins that you submitted, that one at zone will be just transferred up to district
Okay.
to be
All right.
judged at that point.
Excuse me. Okay.
I believe that's how it's been going. Is that right, Karen?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's the
Hopefully
illusion I've
the-
been living under for a number of years anyway. So
Yep. The expectation of our deputy governors is any award winners that win at the zone level that are eligible for district awards, the deputy governor is responsible for sending it on and making sure it's submitted.
okay. I have a question here, Karen, and I'm wondering if maybe on page 20 of the awards thing, it says for the purpose, any editor who achieves 100% or 1,000 points on 8 of his best issues submitted will receive a plaque to commemorate his excellence and diligence. Like that kind of seems to contradict the 5 issue thing that they talk about in another spot.
Yeah. One of our resolutions that was passed at spring convention last year amended the bulletin awards because we did have 4 awards in the district. There is junior kinsman, junior kinet, senior kinsman, and senior kinet.
Yeah, okay.
There is now 1 bulletin award. All clubs are eligible for the same award and are competing against each other. And so there's 1 bulletin criteria. And we're in the process right now. I think literally tonight, someone's working on making sure that our awards package is up to date, and that will be circulated as soon as we possibly can. I imagine within the next week or so, we'll be able to post the new revised awards package for this kin year on the district website, and we will notify clubs when that's done.
Okay, so just kind of disregard this until the new stuff comes out then.
Yep. For now, what you can do if you go to the spring convention page on the district website, the criteria, the full criteria is in the resolution that we submitted. It was passed without amendments. So you can grab the current criteria from that resolution for now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I'll be looking up that publisher thing there, Dan. Thanks.
It's really handy, and you'll see it's just amazing. It's Microsoft 365 is $110 for a year, and that gets you up to 5 different devices, whether it's laptop, desktop, phone, whatever, and that's included in the package. So it's an excellent deal.
Okay.
Not that I'm plugging Microsoft.
But it's been
All
really
right.
handy because every computer in the house now has an updated version of Microsoft. So
All righty. We're ready to wrap it up then?
Yeah, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for agreeing to do this, Ron, and for sharing your samples and your expertise, and so much easier hearing from someone who's done the role and knows it inside and out, and so, but also is willing to pick up new tips and realizing that that there's always ways to make things better. So talking to each other and learning from each other is the way that we're going to make this entire association better. We're all here to help each other out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome. Have a good night, people.
Thanks. Good night.